first challenger, making his way to the blue corner, representing Jordan. Please welcome Mohammad Salameh.
So we move on to the next of our top 5 in the card. After that stunning performance from Steve Banks and Wendell Roche. We move on now for the next of our title bouts. This is the WMC Continental title, the super heavyweight championship belt at 82 kilograms. KASM takes on Mohammad Alama. So from Jordan, Mohammad Salameh. Kickboxing world champion and Muay Thai IFMA world bronze medalist, also the Muay Thai gold medalist. And lately the FIBA Arab champion in Box Arab from the Shiyuki Academy.
And ladies and gentlemen, the second challenger making his way to the red corner, representing Lebanon, please welcome
KASM Daher, Lebanese and Arab Muay Thai champion, fights out of Team Shogun, of course, the famous team originated by Master Sami Kiblawi, now run by Assistant Master Rocky Kiblawi. He's the Arab Muay Thai champion 3 times, kickboxing world champion, and he's been undefeated Lebanese champion since the 90s. KASM Daher.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing these 2 challengers once again. The fighter standing in the blue corner, he is 28 years of age and stands 179 centimeters tall. He has a fight record of 4 wins with 1 loss. He represents Jordan. He is Mohammad Salameh. And standing across the ring in the red corner, this fighter is 38 years of age, stands 177 centimeters tall, has a record of 5 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. He represents Lebanon. He is your referee.
So the WMC Continental title belt up for grabs here. The Super Heavyweight Championship. WMC Middle East belt. This will be contested over 5 rounds. WMC rules. KASM Daher of Lebanon, well, a legend here, 38 years of age, a record of 5-1-1. His opponent from Jordan, 28 years of age, got a record of 4-1, Mohammad Salameh. And again, I'm joined ringside by our Master of Ceremonies and super fight sport referee, the legend that we all know as the Waterman.
Not bad looking too, as according to my wife, Will.
Don't push it, Grant.
Well, if I don't blow this little trumpet, I don't know who else will.
I'm not blowing your little trumpet.
Okay.
You can absolutely take that to the bank.
Enough said. Anyway, this is going to be a cracking fight, I can assure you. The Lebanese local, KASM Dahir, you heard, he is got so much support, it's incredible. But our friend from Jordan, Mohammad Salameh, looking very, very, very ripped and in great condition.
Well, Salameh, a kickboxing world champion in his own right, a Muay Thai IFMA world bronze medalist and a Muay Thai gold medalist and FIBI Arab champion. So he comes to this with lots of credibility, but Dahir, clearly the crowd favourite here. And, you know, in terms of what he's going to bring to this, you have to say at 38 years of age, how much have you got in the tank against a man 10 years your junior? But he's looking great, looking crisp is Dahir. And so far, Dahir in the driving seat.
Yeah. Some would say in a combat sport at 38 you're definitely in the twilight zone, but never judge a book by its cover and never write anyone off. When you have this much support in your local town, you know, you're never going to fall over easy.
Well, I must correct myself for my earlier, my bad statement. This is a super light heavyweight championship belt, not a super heavyweight belt. Of course, I'm still reeling from the clash between those absolute monsters, Steve Banks and Wendell Rose. But the action, tentative, but technical.
Yep, the first round, they haven't started off too tentatively, but they're just finding their range.
Dahir sidesteps nicely, turns his man, drops the right in. Dahir, a lot of experience here. Nice block
he
with the
got
left
caught
hand
in the
from
temple.
Dahir.
I'm not sure. Dahir got one on the got a left hand on the temple there. It looked like it wobbled him, but he recovered very quickly. Look at the focus on Dahir's face, Will.
Absolutely, that's a poker face if ever I saw one. So, bringing a lot of energy to this is Jordanian fighter Salameh. And of course, who else would you want in your corner but the great Master Sami Kiblawi, who's shouting instructions ringside for KASM Dahir to adhere to. Well, with the clock winding down to the 10-second clapper, what do you think of the round so far, Grant?
Well, an interesting one for the judges to score. You know, Muay Thai isn't simply scored on shots landed. There are various techniques which carry a bit more weight in the judges' eyes. It was interesting during that round that Salameh was the one using combinations and setting up the bombs, whereas Dahir looked like he was headhunting with single shots, and his corner was shouting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They wanted him to throw combinations.
I've got a sneaky feeling, you know, Grant, that he's going to start throwing those now, because standing right in the ring, the ringside corner next to him is Master Sami Kiblawi. Of course, legend, as I've already explained to folks back home. Master Kiblawi went to Japan, to the Honbu, and trained with Oyama in 1975-76. He is the forerunner of all martial arts in Lebanon. He is the man that really established martial sports here in the Middle East region.
Yes, and you know, it's interesting when you come to a country, and when Mr. Kiblawi goes in a shop, they call him Master. When he fills his tank up with petrol, Master. He is an absolute living legend over here in the Middle East.
Absolutely, and the team Shogun fighter KASM Dahir has got that experience, that wealth of experience being brought to him. We continue this 5-rounder. Still a lot of action to go, a lot of water under the bridge.
And interesting, as you see, the 2-minute rest periods again in between rounds. So they've got time to fully recover, recharge a bit.
Ziad Sino in the corner as well for KASM Dahir. So that wealth of experience being given to KASM Dahir.
Look at Salameh bouncing up and down on his toes, ready to go, but don't be fooled by Dahir. He stalks his opponents.
And he's got a great ability to work the counter, Grant. If you notice what he does, just he brings them in, then unloads. So Salameh, young, lands a great shot there. That left went straight through, and that's caused an upset. I was going to say Dahir works the counter and draws them in, but Salameh comes in and lands shots.
Well, he drew one in exactly as you say, that left hand straight down the pipe. And of course, that's going to spur Salameh on and give him more and more confidence the more damage he does.
Well, Salameh looks to try and finish this quick, really making this energy intensive now. And Dahir really having to contain. There's the low kick. Boom, that went in. A little bit of a slip as well, but that's where the power resides. Low kick down onto the thigh muscle. That was sweet and dandy.
That must have connected with that sciatic nerve that runs down the outside of your legs. It dropped Salameh, but he's still throwing punches, not realising that he's actually been dropped.
Absolutely, like flicking a light switch. Well, it's getting down and dirty now as it goes to the clinch, and Salameh tries to put the elbow in, and Dahir controlling it, cool as a cucumber. Dahir, absolutely ice cool, really taking this all in his stride. And I tell you what Dahir's doing as well, Granty, that's an absolute must in this game. He's conserving energy. Just look, he's not expounding or expanding any energy that's wasted or is not needed.
A very good observation, Will, and exactly right. You know, when you fight, the top guys fight much more efficiently than the low-level guys. And you watch fighters, how far have you got to get out of the way of a punch? Only a millimetre, let it swing by, and, you know, if you're dodging out the way by 6-7 inches or moving your whole body, you're expending energy.
Well, this, of course, is the art, and, you know, fighters out there that are watching will know that. Fight fans will know, as Grant says, millimetrically slipping these punches is what conserves energy and leaves you in the right position to counter. Well, Dahir had a much quieter round here. We're under a minute left, and Salameh tried to rush in. Oh, and lands a great swinging right hand. Dahir unperturbed by all of it.
Well, Dahir is living life dangerously, because when he throws a low kick, his right low kick, his right hand is dropping dangerously low. Oh, he's caught Salameh with the right hand.
Well, that's the knockdown! Salameh goes, the leg goes. Dahir drops that shot in. Master Sami on his feet here. That's what they were looking for. That's an absolute crowd pleaser here. There's the standing count, but he won't recover from that.
Well, exactly as you said, Will, he was waiting for the counter, just as we were criticising him. Bang, he lands a big shot of his own. There's that right hand again.
But Salameh's back in this, and he's on his toes, but Dahir has the strategy here. The clock's against him. That's the end of the round.
Time's gone.
The time's gone, and the referee needs to step in.
The crowd have gone absolutely bonkers, and the referee couldn't hear the end of the round because they were so noisy.
Mr. Qassam El Sudani unable to intervene, and that left, well, KASM Dahir with open firing range, just put the shots in and really extended his imposing domination in this fight.
And I'll be interested to see the judges' scorecards, because under WMC rules, a knockdown, you can get a 10-9, 10-8, but if you get one knockdown like that, the judges can score it a 10-7 round. That makes a huge difference overall.
Absolutely, Grant. Yeah, because it means it makes it very difficult for the opponent now to come back. We go into the third, it's still up for grabs, but he has got to work double time here.
I can tell you one thing, Will. If KASM Dahir wins this belt, I think the roof may actually lift off this arena.
Well, it's still all to play for. Going into the third. Just look at the action here. And although Salameh tried to smother Dahir, Dahir was still composed and had the more quality shots.
Yeah, I think you're right. Salameh, he looks like the classier fight. There's that right hand again on the replay. That really did wobble him, didn't it?
Well, actually, it came off the back of a low kick that we thought did the damage, but in actual fact, it was a right hand.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're just blind to it ringside here. Whatever it was, that was a shot that is going to be a game changer.
A game changer for sure, depending on how the judges scored the earlier rounds. Dahir's confidence will be going through the roof now. He's got Lebanon behind him, he's got the fight fans behind him, Sami Kablawi in his corner, he's behind him.
I know that was a parting of the ways there, because all the young trainers were talking to Dahir, and Sami Kablawi just cleared the room then and just parted the ways and went in and gave the last advice. I think we're going into the third, but I don't know if it's debatable if we'll see a fifth here. Dahir has come to do business here tonight. He's going to want to please the crowd, and he's doing that right now as we go into round 3 for the rest of the action.
And it's interesting, that right hand he landed, it wasn't right on the sweet spot. It wasn't the crispest of right hands. However, he's got lead in his gloves, hasn't he?
Really heavy hands. And look at that, steps back, tries to left-right combo, throws the right again. Up goes the high kick. Salameh is really bringing the fight to Dahir. Dahir is controlling this very much in the driving seat, but the young pretender, well, coming to try and smother and really try and put some fireworks into this.
And you know, Salameh, he has got the classier work, he's the prettier fighter, but when you get in that ring, you're doing a job. You're not in there to dance and look good, you're in there to finish your opponent, and that's what Dahir has got on his mind right now.
Well, Salameh, has he got his sums right? He's been caught a couple of times. We've seen the power of Dahir, and Dahir hardly breaking sweat here, just doing enough to keep the fight moving and keep out of trouble, but that's saving the energy for that piston-like right hand, which he can land at any moment.
You're right. He's not an attacker. He's a counter-puncher, counter-kicker. But Salameh's worked that out, and now he's stepping back slightly. He's a bit more tentative.
That's a big old thunderous kick from KASM Dahir. And
everybody, the action slowed down, but everybody's still on the edge of their seats.
Absolutely. And in terms of which way this can go, well, I still think that Salameh can bring some excitement to this, but he's got to work out what to do.
And I think Salameh, having been caught by a few shots and that knockdown, he's wary of over-committing now.
Oh, absolutely, Grant. He doesn't want to go in there. That's a real lion's den. That's a pit of snakes Dahir's got waiting for him there. And that's another shot that rocked the Jordanian.
And look at Dahir standing there. His confidence has gone through the roof. And it just shows how fights... There he goes again, trying to land that counter right hand. It just shows how fights move on through the rounds, how the picture can change.
Oh, absolutely. The landscape is never, ever as clear and as precise as we think it is. There's the buzzer, there's the bell. That's the end of the third round. It's a 5-rounder because it's a championship fight, and that's a decisive round, a pivotal round, normally in a Muay Thai championship fight, because you can tell which way the winometer pendulum is going to swing.
I mean, I would give that round to Dahir, obviously the previous round to Dahir, but possibly the first 2 rounds to Salameh.
That's interesting, Grant. Salameh was very busy, wasn't he, in the first 2 rounds? Dahir, a bit slow to start. We only saw the power and the danger that was available. in the last 2 rounds.
Again, Master Sami Kiblawi in there barking orders at Dahir. He knows that victory is in their sights, and he's still got such a passion for Muay Thai after years and years and years of being involved in the sport.
And I have to say that really the people of Lebanon don't realize the legend that they have in Master Sami Kiblawi and his family, who are carrying on the tradition. And for Master Kiblawi, who from the 70s has been at the forefront and founder of all that's been important in Lebanese fight sport, we're last seeing that now in Phoenix Fight 2. People are becoming aware of what really is a legend.
And as a true martial artist, he doesn't walk around all pompous. He's still respectful, very humble, and I think that's why people love him.
That's true. He is a real samurai in the true Budo spirit and true Budo ethic. Right, well, we go to round 4 now. Round and round it goes. Which way it's going to swing, nobody knows. We've got some fantastic bouts coming up. We've got Grigorian versus Way. We've got Garabi versus Wilmot. And, of course, tonight's big fight, Sanchai versus Lali. But this is where it gets down and dirty as we go into the 4th. Salameh comes out firing, and they're trading punches here. My goodness me, KASM Dahir got rushed there, almost like a mugging.
I mean, atmosphere in an arena really does lift a fight, and the atmosphere here is taking this one to another level.
Dahir having to counter like fury here because Salameh's coming in. I have to say, Salameh's had his chin tested here. KASM Dahir has really landed some big shots, and still Salameh looks lemon fresh. Oh, up goes the high kick. Oh, in goes the right hand. This is getting juicy fruit right from here on in. We're stepping up the pace here in the 4th round. And, well, Grant, as it's evening out now, that was an onslaught from Salameh.
It was. He was living dangerously. You know, if Dahir lands something anywhere on your bonds, you know, your lights can go out. But what I think Salameh's corner have told him, it said, in the early rounds you were coming forward, attacking, until the counter punch, he was dominating the fight. Now, in that previous round, he took the back foot, a bit more tentative, and was taking punishment. So maybe his corner's told him, keep coming forward, come forward. But you've got to watch out for that overhand right and the counter techniques of Dahir.
So Dahir now starting to take punches at range, not really enticing Salameh in close enough to unload those big shots. But the low kick of Dahir could be decisive. And the corner of Dahir being told to sit back off the canvas. And Dahir, you can almost hear the mind whirring, the mechanics of what's about to play out here in this last minute. And a low strike, an offside shot, unintentional, but Salameh comes forward. And again, the onslaught that Salameh brings to this, it's like a rush. And in that clinch, on the ropes, he gets a word from referee Al-Sudani, because there was an elbow strike in there after the referee said break.
Yep, not bad refereeing. Whoop!
Well, up goes the high kick. I think it was more of a stumble and a slip. It was taken on the arms. Salameh thought that it was a kick that made contact, but it was blocked by KASM Dahir. But Dahir now, well, almost ponderous in his movements. He doesn't have the crispness of the first rounds.
Well, I think he's waiting for something to happen, waiting for an opportunity instead of creating an opportunity.
Well, he's blocking the shots of Salameh brilliantly at the end of the 4th. That was a tough round for KASM Dahir, and Salameh still looking lemon fresh. 10 years his junior, Grant, at 28. This is a walk in the park. This is where KASM Dahir needs to really pull out the stops. We're going to see it in the 5th round, I think, and it's only going to take one shot to finish this. But I think Salameh will still be there at the end of the 5.
Yeah, and it's interesting, you know, Wendell Roche, 47, still fighting like a maniac. And some people say age is only a number, and including me at the ripe old age of 50 last week. But, you know, as you go through a fight, as your gas tank runs out as a younger man, your mind can carry you on. You know, you can keep going and run on adrenaline. As you get older, as the gas tank runs out, it's difficult to sum something else up. And that's the thing with age in any sport, I feel.
Yeah, I agree with that analogy, but I think in some sports there is something else that carries you, and particularly in fight sport, and you know this, Grant, and you know all the fighters watching this, there is a spirit, there is a die fighting, there is something else that lifts you and carries you through, and we see it time and time again. And that's the wonderful thing about sports like Muay Thai. That's the wonderful thing about sports like MMA, you know, BJJ, that involve that Budo ethic, because it comes. That's why the Y Crew is performed, because you call on the ancestors, the masters of old, your current masters, to give you that drive.
Yes, yes, yes. It's a spiritual thing. I understand what you're saying. You know, I've been a martial artist since the age of about 9, and the tradition, the spirituality of it all, I love it. And summoning up some chi energy right from your ancestors, there is something in that. Some people would disagree, but tradition, and it comes from the heart, it comes from the belly, and I love it.
Well, we're going to see that now. It's gone to the wire. They're going to have to dig deep, these two, to finish this. That was a great round for Salameh. If we've got the scoring as we see it, everything to play for in the 5th. Can KASM Daher from the Shogun Gym bring that spirit of the ancestors to this and bring out what we know to be an absolute consummate and ultimate finish here? Or can the young blade, the new kid on the block, Mohammad Salameh of Jordan, pull a rabbit out of the hat at this stage? Because it's been Daher's fight all the way through.
And it's interesting, if you have a look at the records of these two guys, Salameh 5 fights, Daher 7 fights. But look at the quality of their work. It's world class. The training these guys get in this part of the world, it really is different. They don't unleash them until they're ready.
Well, we've seen great defensive work from KASM Daher. He's blocked so many shots. He's feinted. He's come out. There's the left hand. It comes forward. You can see in this 5th and final round of this WMC Continental title, the Super Light Heavyweight Championship at 82 keys. That's what's at stake here. Someone's going home with gold tonight. Will it be the crowd favourite, KASM Daher, or will it be the young pretender, Mohammad Salameh? No one knows. We know that because Master Sami Kiblawi is on his feet ringside, and he is barking orders at Daher to move and to get this done.
Well, the knockdown earlier on could be decisive. I think it may be, but in the 5th and final round, everything is still to play for.
1.5 minutes to go of full fat fight action. You can see the strategy that Daher is trying to play out in his mind. Salameh much more free, much more loose, and possibly careless as the right hand goes in from Daher. That was a solid shot. You have to say, Grant, the chin of Salameh been tested here time and time again.
It's been tested. Man, they have to keep their hands up. You don't want to blink, do you? When they come into exchange, anything could happen.
You're right, that's a firefight in there, fast and furious. Well, like a tap dance through a minefield here, they're on their feet, the work rate has stepped up, great defensive work there from KASM Daher, and that's the talent, that's the skill that comes with experience. You can get out of the way of some of those shots. Has KASM Daher got his name stamped on this belt? A great right hand in through the middle there. Nice and crisp, nice and short. Again the left hand, again the right hand. And we're seeing the exchanges. Daher finishing strongly here. This is controlled and it's masterful.
Well, we're in the last 20 seconds of the fight. Daher's corner is shouting at him, go forward, go forward, go forward.
Well, now's not the time to throw caution to the wind. We're under 10 seconds. No one's going to have conclusion here that's decisive. Referee steps in, Mr. Al-Sudani.
The fight is
That's
over.
the end of the bout. Well, it's going to go to judges' scorecards, Grant. You're going to make the announcement just quickly before you go. What do you say?
I think the knockdown was decisive enough to give De Gea the title. The crowd want that. You know, either of them deserve a win. They're both fantastic, but in my opinion, De Gea.
Well, Grant, you're not sitting on the fence of that one. I have to say I agree with you. De Gea was much more controlled. He was decisive. The work was crisp. But what a dynamic fighter, Mohammad Salameh. He came out there all guns blazing. That was a real firefight right from the get-go. The first 30 seconds of every round was like the blue touch paper and stand well back. He really, really came to this looking to take it. Young, all guns blazing, but the old master, De Gea, from the Shogun gym of Master Sami Kiblawi, we think has done enough here to take this title and bring gold back to the Shogun gym. Well, if ever there was a crowd pleaser here tonight, and there's been many, it is KASM De Gea. Well, tense moments, it was close. I think it would be, well, we've already made a judgment call, but I still think we need an official verdict. Smiles on the face of Mohammad Salameh, but he might be running east looking for a sunset. Grant Waterman.
Presenting the championship belt for this fight is the president of Phoenix Fighting Championships, Mr. Shaqiq. And after 5 absolutely fantastic rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards. And we have a unanimous decision in favor of your winner and new WMC Super Light Heavyweight Middle Eastern Regional Champion,
when your run is over, just admit when it's in its end. Cause I'm at the end of my wits with half the shit that gets in. I got a list, here's the order of my list that it's in. It goes Reggie, like Bob and Whitney. They kick me
till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my leg give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. Am I high? I'ma rip this shit till my bone color, till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my leg give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. Am I high? I'ma rip this shit till my bone color.
soon as the verse starts, I eat it at MC's heart. What is he thinking? Enough to go against me, smart, and it's absurd how people hang on every word. I'll probably never get the props I feel I ever deserve, but I'll never be served. My spot is forever reserved. If I ever leave Earth, that would be the death of me first. Cause in my heart of hearts, I know nothing could ever be worse. That's why I'm clever when I put together every verse. My thoughts are sporadic. I act like I'm an addict. I rap like I'm addicted to smack like I'm Kim Mathers. But I don't wanna go forth and back in constant battles. The fact is I would rather sit back and bomb some rappers. So this is like a full-blown attack. I'm launching at 'em. The track is on some battle and raps and want some static. Cause I don't really think that the fact that I'm slim matters. A black and platinum status is whack if I'm not the baddest.
Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my leg give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. Am I high? I'ma rip this shit till my bone color, till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my leg give out. Can't shut my